and it's great to see all of you today. I love the message in that opening video. I think it's so applicable, especially at a time right now where we have some very serious challenges, especially in District 7020, and I will come back to that. But thank you for that video. As always, I want to acknowledge Sean Patty running tech, Chris Justice, our host, Cookie Billings, our executive director, who pulls our executive producer, I should say, who pulls all of this together. So thank you to all of you. I also want to thank Director-elect Marshall Butler, who sat in this seat I normally sit in last month while I was in a Rotary International Board of Directors meeting. He did quite a nice job, a nice preview of what he'll be bringing to us as director. So I want to go ahead and acknowledge Hurricane Melissa that came in, a historically strong storm that made landfall in Jamaica less than a week ago. Of course, affected Cuba, had a great effect on Haiti, Jamaica, and Haiti, of course, part of Zone 34 and District 7020. I think you all are aware there are over 24 people who have perished in that storm, over 2,000 in Jamaica, over 2,000 in Haiti, and I know that we're going to see those numbers unfortunately continue to climb. Over half of Jamaica is without power. Right now, clean water is scarce, and I should say this is really in the central and the western parts of Jamaica, but we have so many friends there, some of whom are on this call, and you'll have a chance to hear from a little bit later. There are areas that we're seeing focused on in coverage and media coverage, but there are many, many other parts of Jamaica that are suffering right now. And that's why I thought that opening message was so spot on. Southern Haiti is receiving very little coverage, but also has great damage. They also are not receiving quite the same degree of help from NGOs coming in on the ground because security is a real issue in Haiti. So in one of our breakout rooms later, you'll have an opportunity to learn more. The latest numbers I've seen is that there are over 10,000 people in each country that are still in temporary shelters. But I want to let you know what we're doing to respond. Last week, with encouragement and support from Barry Rassin, past international president and past trustee chair Barry, I submitted a disaster of magnitude application on behalf of District 7020. This was with Governor Bill's approval, and it was approved immediately. And so a disaster of magnitude fund will be created within the Rotary Foundation that will make it easy to provide financial support, either in the form of cash gifts or gifts like qualified distributions from IRAs, but also in the form of DDF. So our districts around the world will be able to transfer DDF into this fund. Even I know for those of you who are district governors on the call, you might be still considering what to do with your old rollover DDF from 2020-21 that has to be allocated by the end of this year. That can be allocated to this fund. This will be the longer-term grant fund to be used for recovery to fund projects in District 7020, with the focus being on Jamaica and Haiti. And for those of you who make cash gifts to this fund, you will receive donor credit for that as well. That fund will open on Wednesday. It's scheduled to hit the Rotary International website that day. Chair-elect Jennifer Jones called me Friday to ask how she could help. She has said that she's going to lean into this, publicize this fund as she travels the world. I know that we can count on our paired trustee, our favorite trustee, Stephanie Yurchik, to provide her support as well. Now, for those of you who want to support more immediate relief, the DNA RAG, that is the Disaster Network Assistance Rotary Action Group, has a fund established to support District 7020. Even before landfall, we had posted at our zone's website a link, and I do not have the very current numbers, but I believe it's around $60,000 US that have been collected into that fund so far. This is to provide, like I said, immediate relief on the ground. So you have an opportunity to contribute for immediate relief, you have an opportunity to contribute for longer term recovery. Of course, you can contribute to both. That's what I'm doing. And we hope that we can count on your support. Governor-elect Karen Pollard from District 7690 is leading an effort to promote donations from all of our districts with a minimum goal of $10,000 per district, and including clubs and individuals from those districts. We want to see if we can raise at least $300,000 to try to support our friends there in Jamaica and Haiti in particular. So wanted you all to be aware of this. There will be a breakout room later that'll be hosted by District Governor Bill, District Secretary Carice, and also the disaster coordinator, Mike, who are all on this call. So you'll have time with them if you'd like to go to that breakout room. And I thank all three of them for being with us at a time when I know they are so busy. They have so much to do, but we appreciate them taking an hour and a half here to be with us. Now, turning to other matters, the Rotary International Board did meet, was in fact in session when this call was held in October, and I want to give you just a few highlights from that board meeting. First off, for those of you who have not heard, I am really pleased to announce that Cindy Covington has been elected as a Rotary Foundation trustee for 2026 through 2030. So we're very excited for Cindy. We're very excited for the Rotary Foundation that she'll be there contributing. And it means that each of our zones will have a trustee. We'll have a trustee from each zone for the period of 26 through 29, with Stephanie, of course, having her first year this year, and then Cindy with a year in 29-30. Just thrilled that two zones, I said districts, I should have said zones, but thrilled that two zones that are such strong supporters of the Rotary Foundation, both in terms of financial support and program participation, that we're going to be so well represented by these two leaders. So really happy about that. Also wanted to let you know, and you'll be able to figure out what this is about, but there's a new vetting process that's been put in place for candidates to become Rotary International President. This will really be designed to identify any issues that the selection committee, the nominating committee, needs to be aware of up front. Those could be financial or legal or health, but that vetting process is in place, still being fleshed out. Of course, we have a good bit of time before the next selection next August. But I wanted you all to be aware of that. We have had, obviously, the loss of two presidents-elect in the last few months. So we want to do all that we can to be aware of all the factors when those selections are being made. Wanted you to be aware of that. Also, for those of you who are governors-elect, the board passed an item that will require that all incoming assistant governors, starting July 1, 26, will need to complete learning center courses that apply to being assistant governor. They need to do that before they take office July 1st of 2026. You'll be hearing more from Rotary International about that, particularly if you are a governor-elect. So, but wanted you to know that that is coming. Now, I am the Rotary International Treasurer, so I wanted to give you a quick financial update. 24-25, the year 2024-25, when Stephanie was president, you will be glad to know that we ended up finishing $6.5 million US favorable to budget. That comes with a lot of hard work, a lot of tough decisions, and also a favorable investment market. So the investment market contributed almost $4 million versus the budget, meaning $4 million to the good. And also we had just exemplary expense containment, particularly as it relates to headquarters and also associated with the convention this past year. Again, almost $4 million to the good versus the budget. So that allowed us to finish $6.5 million ahead of budget, which is just fantastic. Looking at this year, I only have results for you through August, through July and August, the first 2 months, but we are running $900,000 US favorable to budget for that period. Again, investment earnings are about half of that, and the operating expenses associated with maintaining our building, our headquarters building, also a key contributor. So really good work being done there, both by the stock market and also by our staff to contain cost. Now, November 1st, or November, is Rotary Foundation Month. We're going to have our key presenter to speak to that topic in just a few minutes. But I do want to acknowledge our regional leaders who work in the Rotary Foundation space. Our Rotary Regional Foundation coordinators are Jeanette Loftus from Zone 34 and Bernie Rydell from Zone 33. We almost always introduce Zone 33 first, so I thought it was time to introduce Zone 34 first. Our endowed and major gifts advisors were Charlie Rogers from Zone 34 and Beth Trotter from Zone 33. And we sometimes don't hear as much about them because they don't operate with teams. They are solo regional leaders, but they are on par with the Regional Rotary Foundation coordinators. And then the same applies to our In Polio Now coordinators who work so hard in that area. In Zone 34, Sean Patty, who I mentioned earlier in this telecast, Sean Patty, Jeff Michaelman, and Bruce Azevedo are our In Polio Now coordinators. And then in Zone 33, Colleen Bonadonna and Nancy Barbie are In Polio Now coordinators. And supplementing this effort also, Kim Walden just does incredible work with our global social media for our polio efforts. Really, really stellar work. And Robert Hall is the vice chair of fundraising for Rotary's End Polio Now campaign. So here in Rotary Foundation Month, I wanted you all to be aware of all of these leaders who just work tirelessly, often behind the scenes, to promote our Rotary Foundation, both on the fundraising side and on all that we try to accomplish across the globe. So now I'm going to have the honor of turning the program over to our featured speaker today. She is Stephanie Yurchik. And I mean, how do you introduce Stephanie Yurchik in her home zones? It's pretty tough. She was our director, I believe 2019 through 21. So she was heavily involved with these information calls. She served as Rotary International President with distinction in 2024-25. And I say that as someone who sat in the boardroom with her and saw her do her work there. As I mentioned, she is currently a Rotary Foundation trustee, serving from 2025 to 2029. Look at all these hearts floating up, Stephanie. Isn't that great? But beyond that, Stephanie Yurchik is a great leader. She's a great humanitarian. She's a great human being, and she's a great friend. And I know there are dozens of people on this call who would say the very same thing. So I'm very pleased to turn it over to Stephanie Yurchik. Stephanie, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Patrick. What a wonderful opportunity to be able to speak with the family of Rotary during November. But before I do, I have to ask you a very important question. Aren't you proud to be a Rotarian? Listening to what Director Patrick has talked about already just fills me with pride that we have the DNA, that we are able to help support our Rotary family when they need us. And that is truly amazing. You know, when I'm traveling around the world, I often say Rotary is the best organization in the world, and it continues to show me that every single day. So I wanted to just talk about some basic things about our foundation. I know many of you are well versed in our foundation, but especially those of you who may be new, or if you're leading a Rotary Learning Institute, there are some things that you may want to share with those who need to understand our foundation a bit better. We talk about Rotary as one Rotary, and that's true. We want the world to see us as one, but in reality, we're not one. We are two. We are RI, and we are the Rotary Foundation. Rotary International is the administrative side of what we do. It's where the directors are. It's where the board operates. It's where all the clubs and activities happen there. The Rotary Foundation, on the other hand, is the arm of our organization as a 501c3 that lets us tap into the funds that are collected, and it lets us do the magic around the world. And so we need to make sure that all of our Rotarians understand that that's our bank account, if you will. It's ours to tap into, and that's what we really should do. So we develop those funds, and then those funds are there for us to use. So many of you may wonder, what the heck does a trustee do? I mean, what's the whole purpose of being a trustee? Well, there are three really big areas that trustees get involved in that I'll just highlight. One is fund development. We are responsible for helping to raise money. The second thing that we do is spend the money. We disperse those grants. And all the programs that we have, we take a look at them, and it's the trustees that give approval for where the monies go. And the third important thing we do is stewardship. Stewardship is critical. It's, so important for us to say thank you to those people who continue to support the foundation, or who jump on the bandwagon and support the foundation. So, as the board did, the trustees also met in early October on the 7th, 8th, and 9th. And although we recorded 32 decisions and looked at 11 committee reports, I'm not going to tell you about all of that. I'm just going to tell you about the things that really were important. The first thing is that we approved $50 million in Polio Plus grants, primarily for surveillance activities in Africa, for operational and mobilization support in Afghanistan and Pakistan, our two countries that still need our support, oral polio virus procurement in Afghanistan, and finally, social mobilization for polio outbreak response activities. Those of you who follow all of the polio reports know that it's simply not wild polio cases in Afghanistan and Pakistan. We're keeping an eye on those places where outbreaks may occur, or where the variant polio virus is still having an impact on children. So we spent that $50 million in about 5 minutes because the requests were so compelling. And it is amazing the work that Rotary and our partners do to continue this effort. We also took a look at our comprehensive goals. You heard Patrick mention that we did really well last year. We exceeded both of our goals. Our comprehensive goal for the foundation was 500 million, and we exceeded it. And of course, in our endowment, we wanted to reach 2.025 billion by the end of the Rotary year, and we did. So the Fund Development Committee put together some options for Trustee Chair-elect Jennifer to take a look at, and at IA in January, she will be releasing the comprehensive goal for our following Rotary year. We took a look also at all of the audited financial statements. You heard Patrick say that we came out looking very good, and that's because of how seriously the trustees take a look at how we're spending, what we're spending, how we're developing monies, and that's another thing that we can be proud of. So from an administration perspective, we did a couple of important things. One is we elected Trustee Gordon McAnally to be the 26-27 chair-elect. So that means in the following year, he will be the chair of the Rotary Foundation. Another thing that we did was adopt the simplified Rotary Foundation master brand. And you know what that is. Some of you can see it on my shirt here. It's the Rotary Foundation and the master brand will. And so we adopted that as our official logo for use across the Secretariat and in all the associations that are part of our foundation, and in all our recognition materials. So now I want to talk to you a little bit about a call to action. This is important. We are people of action, and there are some of you on this call who are zone leaders. There are some of you on this call who are district leaders, but all of you on this call are leaders in your club. Every time you become a spark plug for an initiative or an idea and plant it in your club and help it move, you're a leader. You're the spark plug. So I want you all to think about how this may play out in your particular club. Years ago, when I was working on my doctoral degree, I came across a man who had developed a theory called zero defects. His name was Phil Crosby. And, you know, in quality management, there's always been a lot of talk about manufacturing and other kinds of things. And okay, so if you make 10,000 parts and two are defective, that's considered okay, that's quality. Well, Crosby's idea was that zero is the correct answer for that. You should have no defects. And when we were studying it, the concept that they always talked about was, you know, if an obstetrician is in the delivery room, how many babies is he allowed to drop? Okay, the answer is zero. All right. So I bring this up because each time I look at foundation reports and I look at district activity and I notice zero giving clubs, it pains my heart. All right. And I know that there are lots of reasons that those zero giving clubs give to us. Well, we have our own foundation or you know, whatever. But I would like each of you to become the spark plug in your club. If your club is a zero giving club, or if you have people who have never given to polio, I want you to be the spark plug. I want all of our clubs in both of our zones to be able to say that everybody has participated in the Rotary Foundation. Think about all the different things that our foundation is involved in. Polio is simply one of them. Our peace centers and our advocacy for, building peace around the world, our disaster relief programs that you're going to hear about shortly, specifically for our area, and we do that around the world. You know, our global grants, our district grants, our programs of scale. There is so much to be proud about when we look at our Rotary Foundation, but it's important that we all think about helping those in our clubs, those in our districts, and those in our zones who haven't yet seen the importance. You know, you've heard me say before that there are only two kinds of Rotarians, those who get it and those who don't. So we need to help those who haven't gotten it yet to come to that realization that the Rotary Foundation is an amazing arm of Rotary that lets us unite and do good in the world. You know, the magic of Rotary didn't stop at the end of June. The magic of Rotary is always going to be there, and it's what propels us to unite for good and to continue to do the amazing things that we do in the world. So again, my call to action for all of you is to think about, can you be a spark plug? I want you to be that spark plug, and I want you to help everyone in your club understand the importance of supporting Rotary Foundation programs. Promote the foundation and support the foundation, not just in November, but throughout our Rotary year and throughout our Rotary careers. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Chris.
Stephanie, thank you so much for just such an incredible and inspiring message. I've heard you speak a lot of times, and it's just never disappointing. So thank you so much for that. We are going to go ahead and talk about International Convention. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to our lead promo person. That's going to be Deb Corbett. Deb, you ready?
I am now that I have a voice. I was all ready to move those slides.
All good.
Thank you, Stephanie, for encouraging us to be that spark plug and giving. And have you thought about how you can be a spark plug when you attend an international convention as well? Let's hear from people around the world and hear what they have to say.
For me, the convention is all about the connections you make. I do love the House of Friendship and that you just bump into people.
Being there, seeing everybody smile, everybody hugging each other, and see the power of the Rotary connection.
Best thing about convention is we get to meet friends from all around the world, And I always enjoy a good concert at the convention.
I think it's a really great opportunity for you to meet people from all around the world, experience a lot of different food and culture.
I'm just excited to meet a bunch of new people, learn a ton of new things, just have an open mind.
I think over the next couple days, you're going to watch people grow, learn, meet new friends.
It's very exciting just to meet people, meet Rotarians like me.
Different cultures, different countries, different people of different languages, and we all have the same aim, is to help the community.
My head is spinning with connections that I've made.
Come together and share ideas and share everything that you really want, and to meet people and to have fun.
You know, I just love this video because you hear from people all over the world, and you hear the differences and the different languages and the different accents, and it's just so rich. And yet what you hear in unity is the idea of connection, the idea of meeting new friends, the idea of coming from all over the globe. And we have this likeness about us in serving our communities. This service above self that unites us, no matter what our differences are, and with our differences that are so incredible. So
For me,
we heard from people in this video, and let's just kind of sit back for a second and think about that. Why do you attend an international convention? And I'm going to again reiterate that you can spark something in your club, in your district, when you talk about your experience of being at an international convention and how that takes your Rotary experience to a different level. The fellowship and expanded fellowships, meeting people all over the world, the learning, the many breakout sessions, again, from all over the world with different perspectives and different experiences, sharing what has worked and sharing what can be as we look to the future with Rotary. The cultural experiences. That's going to be on a whole different level when we go to Taiwan. I'm very excited for that. And just the inspiration, the renewal, allowing this experience to soak into you, to refresh you, to fulfill you as you take it back to your districts, to your clubs, to your friends. And be that spark plug, investing in yourself, your Rotary story, your own personal development, and your club's vitality, as well as your districts. So let's take a look at how we're doing so far and some stats from Taipei. Right now we have about 31,000 paid registrations. This does not include those who have registered that have not paid. And we have 132 countries represented. Again, that is so exciting to get to know people from all around the world. Shout out to Zone 34. You are ranked 10th. Excellent, excellent work there. And we have our host organizing committee that has supplemental events that are ticketed events for the convention. And right now those are booked at about 15 to 25%. And I'll mention those in depth in just a couple minutes. The RI luncheons, what are those? Those are the luncheons that the current Rotary president will host, the Rotary International President-elect, as well as the Rotary Foundation. And those are all booked at about 50% right now. So if you are planning on going to the convention and you want to attend one of those luncheons, I suggest you go back in and edit if you have not done so already. Let's look at some dates, important dates, and the cost of attending the convention. Right now, we're at a cost of $475, and on December 15th, it will go up $100, so to $575. Now, shout out to anyone and all of those that are under the age of 31, because you get a really good deal at $175 and $225. And for those of you that want to take your children or your grandchildren, you can take them for $20 or $30. That's a great opportunity to start sowing those seeds with our future generations. Now let's take a look at where you're going to stay and what's going on with that situation right now. We have approximately 1,500 rooms that are still available in our block. And I want to point out all of the green dots on this map are hotels that are in the Merritt's hotel block. The red little spot there, the thumbtack at number 5, that's where the general sessions are held. That's the dome. And the other red thumbtack on the far right-hand side is the Tynex, where we're going to have where we're going to have the House of Friendship and all of the breakout sessions. So when you're selecting a hotel, you want to maybe make a decision. Do you want to be closer to the general sessions, or do you want to be closer to the breakout sessions in the House of Friendship? And you may want to talk to those that are in your district. A big question that comes up: how do I know who is attending the convention from my district? Your district governor has that list. And if your district has a chair, they also have that list. And I highly suggest that you create a WhatsApp group and start talking about that. There's some benefits. So the HOC, the Host Organization Committee, has organized some tours, anything from a half-day tour at $29 to several one-day tours and two-day tours, and even 3, 4, and 5-day tours. So anywhere between $29 and about $700 to really take in the culture and learn more about Taiwan and see some amazing places. You also can get into some fitness. I was challenged by a fellow Rotarian to do this cycling tour a week before, and I don't know what came over me, and I said, sure, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to train, and I'm going to get in better shape and see Taiwan on bikes with several other friends, and as we highlight in Polio Now. And if you want to do that, that's only 15% full right now. I think there's some more spaces if you want to challenge yourself and do something. Ride a bike for 7 days, 338 miles, that's all. And there's also a run. There's a shorter run and a longer distance run, and that's the day before the convention starts. Now, the gathering. The gathering is our traditional event between zones 33 and 34, and that's happening on Sunday evening between 5 and 8. That's also at the same time of the host hospitality night, as well as the opera. So you have 3 different opportunities, and you may even want to split up some of your time and spend some time at one place or another. But just know that those are all in place as you look at your calendars and decide what you want to do. Monday night is the symphony, and Tuesday night will be the different events for the foundation, for the Arch Clump Society and others, and then the other foundation events. So something really important to me is strengthening relationships. I think when we strengthen our relationships, we increase our livelihood for life. We increase our capacity around membership in Rotary. We increase that heart-mind connection of why we give when we strengthen our relationships. Think about your experiences and why you give to certain causes. You may have a connection to it, and you have a relationship with a cause. And so when we invest in strengthening those relationships, I think we're going to hit all the areas that are really important to us with Rotary and the impact of serving others and doing good in the community and helping others. So let's look at strengthening those relationships in terms of attending the convention. In your district, start, like I mentioned, getting together through WhatsApp, online, or even having meetups somewhere in the district to get ready to pre-plan. Some of the excitement of taking a trip is the planning and deciding where you're going to go and what you're going to do. And, there might be someone in your district, as you talk to others about your plans, that may want to go, but they don't want to go by themselves. What a great opportunity to pull someone into Rotary Fellowship. So think of that in terms of strengthening your relationships, in terms of strengthening your district. And during the convention, are you planning a dinner, a lunch, a breakfast, a cocktail with your fellow district people Are you wearing hats? You know, that I think about some of the districts and some of the countries, you definitely see them and you see the pride that they have in showing their cultural values and the wares and the just the amazing things that they wear. So what are we doing? What is your district doing? Are you doing anything with that? And then upon return, make sure that you get a statement from every single person from your district that attends the convention, because you value what their experience is and you're collecting that. You can put that together in a video. You can ask them to be ambassadors for the following years. Again, encouraging people to share their experience and to share how they can take their Rotary experience and help others learn, and to help others learn about other opportunities. Again, just something intentional to build those relationships in your clubs and districts and around. So here you go. If you haven't registered yet, you can hit that QR code with your phone or just go to convention.rotary.org. And you know what? If you simply Google Rotary Convention, it comes right up as well. So any of those ways are ways to register for the convention. I'll also be in a breakout session later if you have specific questions around travel or weather, things such as like that. Or if you want to learn more about that bike ride. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thanks so much, Deb. I appreciate that. Hey, I mean, I want to go now. So that's that's great. Job well done on the promo. All right, so we're going to get you out of breakout rooms here in just a second. I'll let you know how that works. But first, let's talk about some upcoming meetings. Monday, November 10th, this is going to be our MAP webinar. Remember, this is really focused on content for clubs related to membership in a bite-sized format. It's really well produced, awesome information. So, let's get some folks from your districts out to that. We have Foundation Matters, which is similar, but this one's all about foundation. The next one is November 20th, and that is at 6 o'clock rather than the 5:30 of the MAP webinar. And we've got our always popular public image offering that's coming up November 25th. That's a Tuesday at 6 p.m. Get registered for that. Also amazing content. And as always, make sure you stay connected with us on our various social channels. All right, so the way breakouts work, in a second, I'm going to open all the rooms. We are ahead of schedule. Said no production ever, but we really are. So I'm going to be able to give you about 20 minutes for your breakout rooms. We have 4 to choose from. We've got Patrick Eakes, as always. He's very gracious with his time. We have visit with the RI director. If you want to ask Patrick some questions or hear some more about what he talked to today. Our trustee, Stephanie, has agreed to stay on and host her breakout room, which is great. I saw a question or two in chat for Stephanie, so please pop over to her room and ask her those questions. Heather and Deb are going to host a breakout room for International Convention. As Deb said, if you have any questions about that, pop over to their room. And then I think what's weighing on a lot of our minds, the disaster recovery. We've got a couple of folks that are really spearheading the efforts, in the areas that were affected. So we have a room specific to your disaster-related questions if you want to ask those.